Heads up, NHL 94 fans who play on the Sega Genesis. If you've been playing and noticing that something is odd, just messed up when it comes to hitting and checking in the game, well, stick around as this video is for you. Did you notice that the smaller players are easily absorbing hits from your big crushing players? I'm looking at you, Theo Fleury. Or how about the smaller players that are just knocking off your monsters off the puck just simply by sneezing on them? Again, looking at you, Theo Fleury. So if these things you've noticed and you want to find out how to instantly improve your game, then this video is for you. I'm going to show you a simple tip to adjust your playstyle. And while this could be a game changer for you, what am I talking about? Something called a CB check. Let's dive into this technique and improve your gameplay almost immediately. So before we could get into what is a CB check, you need to watch my video where I talk about the weight bug on the Sega Genesis. And he just absorbs those checks. Let's give him the puck back. Try again. Boom. Only knocked the puck away. So really what this shows is that the heavier guy has a disadvantage against the lighter guy. Understanding the fact that due to a calculation bug in 94 for the Sega Genesis, a human-controlled lighter player has an advantage over a heavy player. Notice I said human-controlled. That is the key aspect here to grasp how to nullify the bug simply by using the CB check. So let me fire up the RetroArch and get a ROM loaded so I could help illustrate exactly what I'm talking about. Got the RetroArch fired up. This is the stock ROM. It's the base one. Nothing done to it. Nothing fancy. Just the ROM that we all are accustomed to playing. And I'm going to pick a team to showcase the CB checks. A team that's a little bit heavier. I'm going to be using Jersey. And I'll go up against Detroit. Detroit has some lighter players. Jersey has a couple of defenders that are able to move and they're heavier. And hopefully you watched my other video that I broke down what are the stats behind the scenes, the 0 to 6, for most of the attributes except for weight, which go from 0 to 15. So I'm going to be referencing that a lot here. So let's see, we have Fedosov. I'm going to change it for Kasatonov. And they are each 11 weight. So Kasatonov is 11 weight. Stevens is 11 weight. Richey's a 9. I'm going to change him for Holik, which is a 10. And Claude Lemieux is 11. So we're up against Detroit, which has 2 9s on defense, 2 9-weight guys in defense. Fedorov's a 7. Yzerman's a 6. And Cicerelli's a 5. So my 11s should be able to crush them for the most part. Even Holik and Lemieux. Only Richer is the only one that is comparable to Chason or with Paul Coffey. So to reach at 9 weight. So when I try hitting anybody that is a lesser weight, I'm going to have trouble hitting them if I just do a regular check. See, he just slid off me. That check didn't even hurt him. That was Stevens hitting... Was that Fedorov? Yeah. So as long as I don't do the CB check, if I try hitting a lighter weight player with the puck, I'm going to struggle to hit him down. Let's see if I can do it. Oh, I missed the checks. I'm not doing CB checks right now. I'm just doing regular checks just to highlight what happens when you try hitting a lighter weight player with a heavy guy without doing CB checks. Give the puck back up. Hit Fedorov, didn't go down. I hit him with Lemieux. So they just brush it off. But if I do a CB check like that, I can knock him down. How did that work? Well, okay. Remember when I said when you use a human-controlled player to do a regular check like this, they just brush it off. But if I do a CB check, they go down. So, what's a CB check? Think of a one-timer. I'm going to try showing you a quick one-timer. When you're doing it, and the guy that you want to use the one-timer with is right beside you, you slide your fingers quickly from B to C. Like you're passing with the B and going to C quickly to shoot. So it's a B to C really fast. So I'll do it right here. You're sliding your finger from like that. From B to C for a one-timer. Now for a CB check, it's the exact opposite. You're going to check with the C button, and they're going to do that acceleration motion. And before you make contact with your opponent, your lighter opponent, you're pressing B. So you're doing C, then B. As an added bonus, this is just an example of how to slide the fingers. I talked about this just a second ago. This is how I do it now. If you're doing a one-timer, you slide your fingers like that quickly. So quick from B to C if you're doing a quick pass to a quick one-timer when the player's beside you. For the CB check, it's the exact opposite. You're just going from C to B, sliding your finger from C to B really quick. And that's how it works on the 3 button. If the 6 button is your jam, here's a 6 button controller. You just basically C to B. That's basically what I'm talking about, sliding your finger, and that's how you could do the CB check easily. Practice that, and you'll be good to go. By doing that, you're no longer a human-controlled player trying to hit your opponent. You're a computer trying to hit the opponent. Kind of tricky, but if you do it right, C, then B quickly, you can knock players over just like that. It's really simple. What does that do? Well, before, teams like Jersey, which are challenging to use, they are now much easier to use. It's opening up the door to using heavier guys that you wouldn't be able to use before. Before, we were all stuck using lightweight guys because they're the ones that can knock over anybody. Oh, interesting goal. They're able to knock over anybody and not get knocked over themselves by heavier players. But now you're turning the tables. You are undoing the bug by doing a CB check. I want to give the puck to somebody that can do a CB check. There, this is a good guy to hit because he's light. Same with him. See, I knocked him off. Come back here so I can show a CB check. Come back here. Okay, Claude Lemieux is going to be able to hit some... sorry, that's Halik. My mistake. Detroit's not cooperating. Whatever. I'll do some slow motion videos of the CB check just so you could get an idea what it's all about. And before we go to the slow motion video, I just want to reiterate what it is I'm trying to do and explain the process. I am pressing C on the control pad to start the checking process. And before my player touches the opponent, I'm quickly pressing B, which makes me control a different player. This allows the check to be completed by the computer, as I'm no longer in control of the player. The CB check is essentially making the computer do the check. And this is how you get around the weight bug in NHL 94. The computer is not subjected to the weight bug, only the human-controlled players. Now back to the slow-motion CB checks. So what does this do? It opens up new doors that were closed previously. Like, let's go through every team. Anaheim, Boston. Anaheim typically has, well, they do have the two big defenders, Kasatonov and Ladouceur, each 11 weight. They're a couple of big boys. They'll be able to knock down just about any forward out there. Boston, on the other hand, Bork, 220. He's a 10 weight, big boy. Typically, it's hard to hit anybody, but using the CB check, it works. Cam Neely, before, challenging player to use, bullied by the little guys. Now, he could bully the little guys. He could knock them over with the CB check. Boston's a good team. They're even better now. Buffalo, Bodger or Smellick, even Ledyard. Bodger, 10 weight. Schmelik, 10 weight. Ledyard, 9 weight. So these guys typically are hard to use. Now you can knock people over. Smellick becomes a decent player. He's now not too bad. Grant Ledyard, with his higher agility, is a decent player. You could use him. He's not going to be an all-star, but he's now decent. Calgary, Fleury, hard to knock him over before. Now, CB check, you can knock him over all day long. McInnes, harder to use before. He's now easier. Roberts, much better player. Noondike, I'm not a fan of. So Calgary, much better team. Chicago, Smith, absolutely. 11 weight. Fantastic. He's now a viable player. Chelios, not too bad, 7 weight. He'll be able to knock down guys that are lighter than him. Guys like Yzerman, guys like Fedorov. Now Roenick's going to be a lightweight guy, and Larmer's not that heavy. So I mean, you could use Larmer to CB check, but Roenick, you're not CB checking anybody. You're using the weight bug to your advantage. You are hitting everybody that is going to be heavier than you, and you're not doing a CB check. You're doing a regular check. But for Joe Murphy, you know, see, it changes the dynamic of Chicago, because now Steve Smith is now a big hitter. They were a good team before. They're now better. Tenorti becomes a viable player. Tommy Shodin, well, whatever. Modano, he's 7 weight. Now he becomes a little bit more challenging to go up against because you're doing a CB check. Dallas, a little bit better than before. Even though they can't aim, doesn't matter. They're still a little bit better. Edmonton, Chason, he's 9 weight. Coffee, 9 weight. They are good hitters. Fedorov a little bit heavier. He's 7 weight. So he becomes a person you could go and body check guys like Bure, Gilmore. You can knock these guys over now with the CB check. But with guys like Cicerelli and Yzerman, you got to be careful to not be CB checked yourself. Don't CB check with them unless your opponent is lighter than you. Edmonton, Manson and Kravchuk, 9 weight each. They become viable defenders. Shane Corson, you can start using him now. Doug Weight, you have to take him out. Peter Klima, 7 weight. He could start pushing around guys that are lighter than him, knocking them over, knocking over the Flurries of the world. So Edmonton becomes a different team. Florida, not much to say. If it's Joe Sorella or Riche, okay, let's just skip over Florida altogether. They are what they are. But the Hartford Whalers, Zalapsky, Weinrich, each 10 weight, and now they become usable defenders, especially Weinrich. Typically, people would take them out. Keep them in now. You could use them to CB check. Guys like Verbeek, a little bit heavier, 7 weight. He can now push guys around. Andrew Castles you take out and put in Yake or something like that. But either way, you can see the Hartford Whalers, they get a boost. The LA Kings. Rob Blake, very good. 11 weight. McSorty, 14 weight. Terrible just because he's just a pylon out there. But guys like Charlie Huddy at 10 weight become a pretty good alternative. Sandstrom before, hard to check anybody with him, and you want to have him there as your centerman. 9 weight. Now, CB check all day long. Gretzky, you're not CB checking anybody with Gretzky. You're just doing the regular checks. But you have to be careful when somebody CB checks you. Gretzky is going down. And Robitaille, 7 weight. He's a midweight guy, so be careful what you do with him. Montreal. Desjardins. He's a 9 weight. So you're going to want to maybe start him and CB check with him. Schneider, he's a 7, so, he's not too bad. Muller 9 weight. He now becomes a viable option in the middle, especially with that shot. It's actually not too bad, not too good here, but typically it's much better. His shot is pretty good, so you may want to put him in the middle. Bellows you take out, he's trash. But see, it just opens up doors. You're going to be able to play guys that you weren't going to play before. I talked about Jersey already. Guys like Stevens, guys like Kasatonov, Richer, even Lemieux if you want to play him. They were heavier, harder to use before, but now you could possibly use them on the Genesis. Still, I would start C-Mac and Zelepukin and Richer on the front. I'd sit Lemieux. That's just my opinion. Whatever works for you, it's good for you. The Isles. Malakoff before, 10 weight. Tough to use. Kasparaitis, 7 weight. Midweight guy. Turgeon, 9 weight. CB check with him all day long. Now he becomes a very good centerman. You could use him and you could make sure that he could actually check players rather than just check them and then they brush it off. CB check with Turgeon, he's not too bad. So Islanders, they get a tiny boost. But the other team gets an even better boost. The Rangers, because James Patrick, 9 weight, very good defender in my opinion. I start him all day long. Tikkanen, 9 weight. With that speed, CB check, he's pretty good. Messier on the wing, 10 weight. He's a force. Garner, even a 7 weight. This is a heavier team. They get a huge boost as a result when you do CB checks. When you're checking guys that are lighter than you. New York Rangers get a huge boost. The Senators, it's probably better if we don't talk about them. They're pretty trash. I mean, what could you say? Kodalski becomes decent? No. The less said about the Senators, the better. But the Flyers, hey, you probably sit down Galley, but look, Lindros, if you want to play him, he's a heavy guy. You can now check players with him with CB checks. Brindamore, you could check players with him. Philadelphia get a bit of a boost. The team which arguably gets the biggest boost is Pittsburgh, because they're a very heavy team. 10 weight Murphy, 8 weight Samuelson, 10 weight Lemieux, 10 weight Yager. You're probably going to sit Stevens for a 9 weight Francis, or maybe you want to go for a 6 weight Joey Mullen. But either way, 4 of the guys, possibly 5, if you go with Francis, they're heavy guys. They're going to get bullied all day long by lighter players, but if you use the CB check, you could bully those same lightweight players with the Penguins, and the Penguins become a much better team. Not top tier, but significantly better. Much, much better team. How about Quebec? You're not going to start Nolan. You'll probably switch him up with Kamansky or Kovalenko or something. Kovalenko's a lightweight bugger, but Sundin, 7 weight, right? Like he becomes a checker. Duchesne, 8 weight. You can start checking guys that are lighter than you. You go with Lecision, you go with Gusarov even, if you wanted. You know, there's options here. Adam Foote, probably not. But, I'm just trying to go through the rosters to show you what type of gains you get by starting to do CB checks. San Jose, let's just leave them alone. Nothing to say there. But the other team, Garth Butcher, right? Like 9 weight. Jeff Brown, 9 weight. Butcher was clearly the odd man out here. He was trash. You can't do much with him. But now you could hit with the CB checks. Brendan Shanahan, if you really wanted to play him, you could CB check with him. Brett Hull, you got to put him in the middle. But being a 9 weight, he was a heavy guy. So he was easily going to be knocked over and hard to knock players over that were lighter beforehand. Now with the CB check, Brett Hull becomes a very good player. So St. Louis gets a boost. Tampa, Contos. I mean, what else could you say? He's a heavier guy. You put him in the middle, CB check with him. The rest, and there's not much to say about them. Toronto, on the other hand, you're going to use Elliott. Elliott's a pretty good player. 9 weight. You're probably not going to start Gill. You'll probably start McCowan. Where is he? He's somewhere over there. But anyways, McCowan, you're probably going to start. But you know what? Gilmore, you're not going to CB check with him. But Wendell Clark, if I could find him, there he is. 8 weight. You're going to probably want to start Wendell Clark in the middle as an option. And as an 8 weight guy, you could CB check. So with Toronto, it doesn't really help too much. It's probably a small boost to CB checking. But it opens up doors more than anything. Gives you the opportunity to play Clark in the middle rather than always play Gilmore in the middle. So you have some flexibility now. So Toronto gets a tiny boost. Vancouver. Those defenders before the CB checks, just awful. 9 weight Lidster. 7 weight Lume. You're probably going to keep Lume, and he's probably the better. But Lidster, maybe you want to go with a little bit heavier. You want to go with a 10 weight Diduck. Maybe you have no options. These guys, they're heavier guys, so they're able to knock over the lightweight guys. And even as forward, before you didn't want to play Linden, but now 9 weight Linden becomes viable with his shot, right? Like, his shot accuracy is pretty good. You may want to put him in the middle, right? Have, say, Ronning and Bure in the wings feeding him the puck. It opens up doors for Vancouver. Their defense is now better. They have more flexibility up front. Definitely helps them out. The other team, Washington. Yeah, you're probably going to want to sit Hatcher. But even if you want to start him, like, he's a heavy boy. A 12 weight. But Iafrate, 11 weight, he becomes a very good CB checker. He's got some agility. So, it opens up doors. Dmitry Kristich, 7 weight. You probably want to put him in the middle, given his shot. His shot here, like you can see right here, is a 6 accuracy, so it's not too bad. So he's going to be able to get a lot of pucks in the net. But still, before being a 7 weight, not so good. Now, he's a pretty darn good player. So Washington, a boost. And finally, we have Winnipeg. So you're probably going to want to start Numenum. And he's 7 weight. Housley, he's a 6 weight. So really, they're not going to take advantage of the weight bug too much, the CB checks. But Olesen, if you want to put in there, 9 weight, he could be a heavy hitter. Solani at 188, he's a 6 weight. So, against the lighter guys, he's fast enough to get there. He can knock over guys like Bure. He can knock over guys like Ronick, Gilmore, as long as you do the CB check. So, you know what? There's options here. Now, you may want to start Steen. Before, you always wanted to go with Borsato. You wanted to go with lighter weight guys. But now you want to go 8 weight and 7 weight Zhamnov, 8 weight Steen. There's opportunities here. So, flexibilities with Winnipeg. So, all this goes to show you is the CB check opens up the doors for you to play with new teams, new players, and you're able to elevate your game. Before, you weren't able to knock over the lightweight guys. Now you can. You could take advantage of it. You could bully them. And you could take your game to the next level. Seems a little tricky at first. Remember, CB, sliding your thumb from C to B. The same when you're doing for that one-timer from B to C, you're sliding it from C to B. Quick slide. If you follow that, You'll be okay. And I hope this was easy to digest. You're able to comprehend what I say. And I got so many more videos I'm going to be releasing. But this one, if you could do this one video, this one trick that I said in this video, you become a huge gain. It elevates your game tremendously. How I learned to use CB checks, I joined a league, online league. And if you want to play online, you know, what are you doing? That's where you got to do it. I use Jersey. Jersey, like I said, they have the heavyweight guys, and I forced myself to learn how to do the CB check. I forced myself to use the CB check with these heavyweight guys. Because if I didn't, I was going to get eaten alive by my opponent. So I forced myself to do it. I ended up winning that league, even though the other players picked better teams. I picked one of the worst teams, and I was just able to take advantage of the CB checks. So, you know what? Do yourself a favor, pick one of these heavy teams, learn how to do the CB checks, and you're going to just be one notch higher than before, maybe more. So with that, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Give me a like, a subscribe. That helps me out with the algorithm. And man, oh man, there's going to be so many more videos coming down the pipe. So with that, take care, and I hope to play with you online.